Is WWE trying to tell us something when it comes to the return of the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns? Well, it seems that way. And before I continue, you guys can tell my voice is a little off. I'm under the weather, but hang with me. I want to talk about the return of Roman Reigns because, well, we've not seen him since the Royal Rumble. And we know during that match he was eliminated by CM Punk, who got the upper hand on both Reigns and Seth Rollins. And that did what? It prevented Roman Reigns from getting that shot at the WWE Undisputed Championship again. His championship that he lost to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. Paul Heyman had been pushing that. Hey, this is what Reigns wants back. He wants to come for his championship. And that was the whole goal heading into the Royal Rumble. Well, it didn't happen. And so Reigns now has been laying low, right? We've not seen him. We don't know what Roman Reigns is thinking after losing that Royal Rumble match. Decides to enter the Rumble for the first time in forever. And we have no idea what the mindset is of the tribal chief because that had become his focus, right? The focus was on getting that championship back to the family. The third match with Cody Rhodes to be able to finally settle the score. And Roman Reigns came up short. We know before that, the goal was one thing in particular, and that was getting the Ulafala back, which he did successfully against Solo Sikoa on the Raw and Netflix debut. And that allowed Reigns to start to make that move, right, towards the Royal Rumble and all that. And we thinking at the time, okay, clearly they were teasing something, continuing the story with The Rock and everything like that. That seemed to be something that we're at least teasing for the future. We knew it kind of at that point on the Raw and Netflix, we're thinking, all right, we don't know if The Rock's going to be involved in anything for WrestleMania 41, but with the way they're teasing, and you can see this shot here, right? We talked about the hug and all this other stuff. Clearly teasing something down the road between Roman Reigns and The Rock. Well, we also know that since that time that we've not seen Reigns, everything has changed because the final boss did make his return to WWE on that fateful SmackDown where he decided to ask Cody Rhodes for his soul. And we know that Cody Rhodes did not sell his soul to The Rock. He told him to go fuck himself. And that allowed John Cena to make the shocking heel turn that we didn't know was ever going to happen, but seemed to be one of the possibilities going into Elimination Chamber, giving that the story was that we knew Cody was not going to sell his soul to The Rock. And well, it still seems like there's plenty of unfinished business when it comes to Roman Reigns, and now you could certainly throw him into the mix when it comes to getting involved in the whole story with The Rock, John Cena, and Cody Rhodes. But that will probably have to wait because we know why. When you look at where Roman Reigns is at now and where this WrestleMania 41 card is sort of shaping up to be, we understand that the reason that Roman Reigns is not maybe in that scenario where he's facing Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed title at WrestleMania 41 is because of two people. It's CM Punk and Seth Rollins. And Roman Reigns has kept them guessing. He's done a good job, right? The tribal chief, the ultimate master of the mind games with the wise man Paul Heyman. He's kept them guessing. Where is Roman Reigns? We've all been asking the same question, right? And I think that's the intent. WWE wants us asking the question, where is Roman Reigns? Well, something was said on this week's edition of Raw that I think makes it very obvious as to what the next move is going to be. And some of you guys already know what it is. But Seth Rollins, after he got into the just incredible brawl with CM Punk to start the show on Raw this past week, it was Seth Rollins backstage. It was either Jackie Redmond or Kathy Kelly. I don't remember which one. They're both great. They were asking him sort of, his mindset coming out of that and where things settle in now and everything. And that's when we eventually got the announcement that we're going to get a steel cage match next week at Madison Square Garden. But Rollins said something in particular. He said that he's going to do to CM Punk what he did to Roman Reigns. And that is make sure that CM Punk does not make it to WrestleMania, right? Punk's also come up short in his goal to be able to main event WrestleMania. But Rollins says it's not about keeping Punk from that goal anymore. He did that at Elimination Chamber. Now he's going to keep Punk from making it to WrestleMania. But again, he did say that's the same thing he did to Roman Reigns. Well, we're going to find out about that, right? Because after Rollins did take out Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, after the elimination and all that, and we're all looking around going, what's going to happen from here? The rumors were out there that we're going to get the triple threat match and all that. We didn't know as things started to sort of veer off course a bit with the whole final boss thing. You didn't know if that was going to factor into maybe Punk being the one to sell his soul. and that kind of stuff. It's the final boss. When The Rock comes in, we know things can change in a hurry. But now I think the direction seems pretty clear, doesn't it? Because if Seth Rollins said that on Monday, and it's just sort of that, not necessarily a throwaway line in the promo backstage, but it was more about CM Punk. It wasn't about Roman Reigns. It was about CM Punk. But yet, the way he said it about how he's going to make sure Punk doesn't make it to WrestleMania the same way Reigns doesn't make it to WrestleMania, to me, that sets up the ultimate showdown next week, either inside the steel cage or outside of the steel cage, because I think that's what WWE is hinting at, right? It is telling us that they have set up this huge main event between Rollins and Punk in a steel cage, Madison Square Garden, most famous arena in the world, and you're telling me they don't have something huge and special planned for the end of that show. I think they absolutely do, and I think that is, without question, the return of Roman Reigns to get involved somehow in this match. Because remember, it is one where Triple H has made Raw a must-see event every single week now, right? Even go back to this past week on Raw. Not just the start of that show with that wild brawl between Rollins and Punk. Io Sky winning the Women's World Championship from Rhea Ripley. A surprise development for a lot of people, thinking that, okay, this was definitely going to be Rhea versus Bianca Belair. We talked about it after Elimination Chamber. Seemed like the obvious direction. But no, they now make you rethink things by making Io the champion, which I still think is going to wind up in a triple threat match. I don't think it's just necessarily going to be Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. But the point is that they have set up all these editions of Raw so far on Netflix to feel like there is something big and something special that you have to tune in to see on every single one of these shows. And now they're going back to Madison Square Garden doing a CM Punk Seth Rollins steel cage match. And you're telling me we're not going to get the return of Roman Reigns to set up that potential triple threat match at WrestleMania. It seems like that is the most obvious direction that there is. But again, sometimes we think that about WWE in the Triple H era, and it's not always so obvious. So how do we do it, right? If Reigns does come back next week, how does it play out? Does he cost Punk the match against Rollins? Does he cost Rollins the match against Punk? Or does he let those two beat the hell out of each other, and then Reigns comes back to extract his revenge on both of them? Because again, in tying it together, they both cost him the opportunity, because it was Punk costing Reigns the opportunity by eliminating him in the Rumble. It was Rollins potentially costing Reigns the opportunity to be in the Elimination Chamber by taking him out with the attack after that. And so Reigns has every reason to come back now next Monday. That's the date. He's been seeing it in his mind, right? And think about all the stuff that's happened at Madison Square Garden. The wise man may be a little iffy about walking back into Madison Square Garden after the attack last year from Solo Sikoa and company. But you've got to think, this is where the official road to WrestleMania starts for Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins, and potentially the triple threat match. We've said before, do I love the idea of just a triple threat match based on these three guys hating each other? It depends on how you do it. Sure, you would like to have a lot more stakes involved. And I do think, and this is why you should hit the subscribe button, I've got another video coming up where I don't think it's going to be that simple for Reigns, Punk, and maybe even Rollins coming out of WrestleMania. I don't know that we're just going to see those three guys wrestle on one of these nights, and that's going to be the end of it. I think there could be multiple from that group of three that will play a role in something else that's going to happen at WrestleMania 40. I'll save that for another video. But if you look at it from this standpoint, it does seem like WWE is giving us every little thing, and when Triple H drops these little bitty tiny things in promos, they're done for a reason. Rollins saying he's already taken Roman Reigns out of WrestleMania. But we know that's not true, because WrestleMania is not today or tomorrow. It is still a month plus away. Roman Reigns has time to make his return. He's going to, in my opinion, make it next week at Madison Square Garden in New York, because I think that is where you really kick this thing off and figure out how you're going to put this together. If we assume it is the triple threat match, how are you going to make everyone buy into this as something that feels big enough for these three guys who are all world championship type contenders or former title holders, right? Is a basic triple threat match enough? Because there's got to be something at stake. And that's where potentially CM Punk's favor comes back in, right? Does Punk's favor play a role here? Maybe Punk's favor has something to do with Reigns costing Rollins the match in the steel cage. But if it's a steel cage match, you would just probably think that these two are going to settle it. This been between Punk and Rollins, but then again, it's like, well, if they settle it here, what's the need for the triple threat, right? So I think we're going to get some more unpredictable elements with these three on the road to WrestleMania 41. But if we assume we're getting the triple threat match, and we assume that the Tribal Chief had just been sitting and waiting for the right time to strike, well, these two guys being locked in a cage next Monday at Madison Square Garden seems like a great time for the Tribal Chief to make his return and make his presence felt on the road to WrestleMania and express all that frustration for not getting the opportunity to regain his championship. No Rumble win, no Chamber win, and now Roman Reigns has nothing left to do but try to destroy the two guys who would also probably like nothing more than to destroy them. So that's your setup, I think, heading into next Monday's Steel Cage match, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and what I think is the return of Roman Reigns. But you guys, let me know what you think. As always, I appreciate your feedback. Do you think this is when we get Roman Reigns' return next week on Raw? If so, what does he do? Does he cost one of these guys the match? Does he come out afterwards and kick both their asses? What's going to happen next week? And are you still sold or not sold on the idea of the triple threat match at WrestleMania 41? Because I think even if it happens, we may start to see a different direction for Roman Reigns coming out of WrestleMania 41, and it could be a big one. I'll talk about that in another video. Appreciate you guys watching. As always, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on your way out. Thanks for your patience with the voice. Doing the best I can to keep getting you guys some videos. But again, thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts on when you think Roman Reigns will return, and if it's on Raw, how's he going to do it?